Thanks for joining me for this episode. This is a shocking, bizarre incident that occurred in San Francisco just last night in a church. This at Saints Peter and Paul Church in San Francisco. It occurred at 5:52 p.m. just last night, Sunday night. And what happens in this bizarre incident is the suspect arrives to the church. He takes communion with everyone, and then he goes up to a parishioner and asks for money. And the parishioner sounds like kind of ignored him, tried to ignore him, and kept praying. It was during the prayer, kept praying. And the suspect then assaulted him, and witnesses said knocked him completely out. And then he stood there as people were coming to the victim's aid. The suspect still stood there and was asking for money and demanding it. And eventually enough people gathered, apparently, that he kind of walked away, and they called 911. So as this is unfolding, the police arrive. They're actually there very quickly. They get there in about 2 minutes, and they locate the suspect. And he apparently runs and jumps into a vehicle that was pretty close and takes off. And this ends up being a pursuit that actually ends up, before it's done, it goes a good 35 miles across the bay from San Francisco over to Martinez. During the pursuit, this is the crazy stuff here, is during this pursuit, at 2 different times, he throws out some sort of explosive devices. And the police say the second one was quite the explosion, but police saw the flames from the devices, and they felt the blowback of these explosions, and especially the second one. And even witnesses in the area that came out of their homes, and the news interviewed them, they said, man, that was a loud explosion. It wasn't a normal kind of firecracker kind of thing. And the police, in their reports and in their reporting to the news media, they believe the suspect did try to kill them. I mean, it was quite an explosive device. He was arrested, like I said, about 35 miles away. Both San Francisco PD and CHP, California Highway Patrol, pursued him and ended up doing a pit maneuver on him and arresting him. Here's some photos. You can see the pipe bomb there in the upper left. And let's make that a little bit bigger. And after it exploded in the street, and you can see the suspect vehicle there at the top, and also in the lower right, that photo is the suspect vehicle along with police after they pitted it for the end of the pursuit. So what are you and I going to do? You know, I want to talk about these scenarios. That's my purpose of being here. That's why this show's organized, is I want you to talk about this scenario with your team. If you had an assault at church, and it sounds like a serious one, what are you going to do? Is your team ready to deal with an assault, a violent, semi-violent suspect, however the degree of assault is? Are you ready for that? If not, are you going to get ready for that? You know, so get right down to the nitty-gritty. Have a quick 10-minute conversation before church, or send this to your people and let them take a look at it. Link this to them. Have a conversation about it. You know, what would your team do? Would you detain the suspect? He's pretty violent. Or would you just follow the suspect? Call police, try to follow him a little bit. Sounds like police arrived fairly quickly. But that's the important thing here. That's the whole purpose of this show. Let's talk about the news about this church incident, and then let's figure out, are we ready for it, or what could we do to get ready for this scenario? And that's how we improve ourselves. The more things that we prepare for, the more things that we're practicing or planning for, the better that we get. Thanks for joining me for this episode. I hope you'll like and subscribe, and certainly leave me a comment down below.